Welcome to yet another episode of the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories, a series of conversations with CXOs and business leaders over chai or coffee, if that's your preference, brought to you by ET Edge. The urgency and pressure on business leaders as they navigate the COVID-19 pandemic has been immense. These business leaders have been constantly monitoring myriad ways to ensure that their respective companies stay on course in the new normal. The incredible demands placed on them makes us often wonder how they have time for family, hobbies, or any personal downtime. And let's not forget that they are mere mortals. This initiative by ETH is aimed to create a deeper connection with them and to get a sense of what business leaders of several prominent companies do when they are not in business mode. Today, it's my pleasure to host Sharad Goklani, Chief Technology Officer at AU Small Finance Bank. Sharad, welcome to the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories.
Thank you, Ivan. Pleasure to be here.
Our pleasure to host you too. Then let's deep dive straight away, and I'm probably going to ask you to take us down memory lane by rewinding a little bit. If you were to go back to the early years of your childhood, school, or later college, was there anybody who influenced you in those formative years? And as a follow-up question, what ambitions did you have then as a young boy or a teenager?
Sure, yeah, it's quite a long trip down the memory lane. So I grew up in a relatively smaller town, Ivan, and it was more like a village setup. I mean, not really a village, but there were a lot of friends from my dad, from my mom, the neighborhood, and we were ourselves a joint family. So we were a small house with a packed population there. So growing up there is really, I would say, adventurous on one hand and very satisfying on the other, if I look back at it. Because as people say, right, you are the average of the 5 people that you spend most time with. So I had maybe more than 50 as I was growing up, and in my home there was never a dull moment, I would say. And I just wonder how times have changed in these days. But really, if you talk about influence, my parents definitely were a great influence, as with every kid. You look up to your dad, your mom as your idol, and my neighbors, my friends, my friends in school, my friends in college, teachers, all of them, many of them. I remember so many. I mean, in 5th standard, there was a Mrs. Talwar who used to teach us Hindi, and a mathematics teacher in 11th grade, Mrs. Karche, I remember very clearly. So a few of them have really got a great influence on me, but not a particular individual, I would say. But like I said, I am the average of all those people that I am. As far as ambitions are concerned, no. I mean, I was growing up in 70s and 80s, and in those days, either you become a businessman or you take science, for engineering or a medical. I was not cut out for business. I think medical was, I was probably allergic in that sense to biology. So engineering was the only option. But, like all boys, I also wanted to be a pilot someday. But really no specific ambition. All I wanted to do is, by the time I was 15 or 16, I clearly remember I wanted to start earning money because, I wanted to be on my own. I kind of started doing some, some odd jobs here or there, started, earning. I mean, there is really no specific ambition. I am pretty satisfied with where I am today.
I think I come from the same generation as you, and at the end of the day, we had an amalgamation, like you said, of our environment and the people that surrounded us. Really not too much of a choice, and we would just focus on our childhood and our youth,
right?
Just doing the things that all children did.
Yeah.
And that's about it. And like you said, the ambitions at the end of the day, I remember that I saw blood And I decided I'm not going to be a doctor, though I used to stand
Yeah,
first in school. So it was like, no, I don't want to do this. And that was it,
absolutely.
two or three options. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks for taking us down memory lane. Uh, Sharad, you've had work ex of what, 30 years, close to 30
Yeah, about
years?
27, nearly 27 years now.
Okay. So, Sharad, during the course of your professional journey of 27 or 28 years, like you mentioned, uh, it's a long career. What's the best professional advice that you've received? If you could share that with us, and who gave it to you, and how it's impacted you. And this is just generally for the benefit of viewers, younger people who aspire probably to be in positions like you.
Sure. So I think carrying on from the first question, my parents, my dad himself was a professional. He served in the engineering industry for about 36 years. So I think the first few advices came from him and my mom, from related to professional ethics and integrity. And it's not that there was an advice. It's the way he used to behave, he used to conduct, he used to go. Children are good observers. I believe I was a good observer as well. So I used to look at him, and how he conducts, how he goes, and how he despite having a lot of opportunities to cut corners, he probably did not do that. And so I think the first one was from my parents, coming in as professional ethics and integrity, which was probably the most important one till date. Then, of course, I had I was fortunate to work with so many people over the last 27 odd years, and I'll of course love to name some of those people here. My
Please do,
most of
please
them
do.
have been my bosses, but some of those I had nice relationships as well, as far as personal things are concerned. So first one probably came from a person called Bridge, and he taught me how to be dependable. I think which is absolutely important in a professional setup. Once you are given a job, you don't need a follow up. You don't need to be reminded again and again. And I learned that reminders undermine your ability to negotiate. Right. So that is a very important lesson that I learned. About dependability. Then again it is related, but few other lessons came in from my other colleagues. One was around close looping. That's what we call. So we typically open a conversation and we don't close loop. In a professional setup, this is very, very important, and communication gaps are probably the root cause of most of the issues. So this very crucial advice came from a gentleman called Nikhil. And then Krishna, he taught me generally how to conduct yourself professionally. So there's just so many aspects to professional behavior. And then Vanamali, I think you had a chat with him some time back. I had a chance to work with
That's
him
right.
some time, and he taught me accountability. That's the key word, I would say. So all these things, if you look at dependability, close looping, conduct professionally, accountability, these are all related things, integrity and all. But I think these are many facets of being a professional, and how do we live on a day-to-day basis. I think that's at least my 2 cents.
It was more than that, because thanks for just explaining that, because we all hear these words in terms of integrity, dependability, but actually breaking it down for us with examples when it came to your parents and also your colleagues and associates in the industry, by actually you brought it alive by actually mentioning their names and what exactly that meant. Thanks so much. I've learned a new word today, called close looping. Great, wonderful. Uh, may I ask, who is your friendly ear? Somebody who listens to you without judging you, either in the professional space or in your personal life.
Yeah. My sibling, my sister, I think, we sometimes talk, though she's not in India, but, we do speak about, once a week or so, and we have just long chats. I mean, there's no specific agenda. Sometimes she just calls me, sometimes I just call her. And yeah, I share, regardless of how I'm feeling, whatever I can, I'll share with her. And she is generally, sans any judgment, with me. Um, and yeah, there are a couple of other people as well. One of my cousin whose name is Prashant. I think I'm pretty open with him as well. He is also, both these people, my sister and my cousin, are younger to me, 3-4 years maybe, but they mentally, I think they are more mature than me. So I kind of open up fairly nicely with them. Then, one more guy called Anubhav. Yeah, so I have a pretty nice talking. We were professional friends as well a decade or so back. So I think very nice having these people around.
Wonderful. That's great. In our life, we do, let's not shy away from this. There are good times, bad times, not so good times. That's the fact of life. And there are, whether it's family or whether it's the professional space, there are nice conversations, there are cutting chai conversations, there are boardroom conversations, and there are some tough conversations. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I'd seek your response on this. What is the toughest conversation you've had, either with your CEO or with your managing director? I mean, I know I'm getting into probably dangerous territory, but that's a fact of life. And would you like to share that? And were there any learnings? Was there a to and fro, and how did it finally end up?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was my CEO, Sanjeev. I had a good fortune again of working with him for about 6-7 years. This was early 2000s to mid 2000s, and I would call it an ego bruising trip, I would say, because he is a typical salesman, now retired, of course, but he's still funding a lot of startups and all. And I supposed I was a geek, and I was very, very proud to the extent of being egoist about being a techie and being able to create some stuff which people can only write in a document. So I was coming from that lot. And one fine day, I think I had literally an argument with him, and it was an open cubicle. I remember. This was, I think, in 2004, 2005. He used to sit in an open cubicle, and I had a long chat, literally an argument as to who's better. Creating technology is better, or selling technology is better. So that was the conversation I had. And though it sounds like a fun argument today, that day it was really pretty intense. Like I said, I was putting my, pitch in favor of myself and saying that I create stuff. And, if I don't create, how will you sell? And then he had his own counter argument, what does creation matter? How does creation matter if we are not able to sell? So it has to be of use to someone, something. So, and he gave a lot of examples. And finally, I kind of gave in, so I kind of succumbed to. And I realized that, true technology is there, technology can be created. But I think if it's not of use to anybody, then probably, we need to rethink about it. So it caused a lot of, paradigm shift, if I may, in my mind, after spending about 10 years in the industry that time. I kind of looked at technology slightly differently after that. So yeah, that was a nice conversation. I won't call it a tough conversation, but it was a conversation I remember till now, and I'll probably remember for my lifetime.
Great, wonderful. We've had these discussions. I come from sales and marketing.
Oh, is it?
And it's all, yeah. So in the first job, it was about selling paints. So for the household segment, and also the company that I represented was the largest industrial paint supplier. So industrial paints that come on cars and everything, and they have a very technical aspect to it. So the question was the same. It was a never-ending debate. Right. It is, I sell. And they said, the technical team at the factory said, no, we create. If this paint was not worth its salt, you would not be able to sell anything. So that's a never-ending debate here
Never
at the end
ending.
of the day. Because at the end of the day, I think we all sit down and say, yeah, there's that consumer, there's that customer. How does it serve their purpose? That's the point. Thanks so much. That was great. Wonderful. Okay, next question. Slightly philosophical. Would love your take on this. Some people believe that if life has no purpose, then there is no reason for living. While others think that if life has no purpose, that frees a person to find or create and follow their own personal journey, finding and evolving. What is your view?
Well, I don't think my view matters here.
No, it does, because there are multiple views on this, but it does because of the experience.
Yeah. So see, I think that, and I literally meant it, that my view doesn't matter, because I think the universe has a grand purpose, which we perhaps don't understand, right? And if you go back to the Big Bang, which happened, I think about 13 odd billion years ago, and you go back to 4 billion years ago when the first chromosome started appearing, and then you go back a couple of billion years when the Neanderthals and the Homo sapiens started fighting. And you look at the whole evolution of the Homo sapiens, right, as they say, and you look at where we are. I mean, at least I can't, if I sit back and think in a cutting chai kind of conversation, I really don't think, what is the purpose of the Neanderthal who died, fighting a Homo sapien some 2 billion years ago? What was his purpose of life? What was the purpose of the Homo sapien? So, but one thing is for sure, every generation is kind of better than the previous generation, right? That is for sure. And in that gives a hint to me that the universe has some grand plan, which probably will culminate into something really great at some stage in life. It may be in our lifetime, Ivan, it may be in someone else's lifetime. We may be reborn, not born, etc., etc. But there is something which we don't understand. And, that's why at least I believe that, child is the father of man. I really believe that. And hence, I think it's important just to do our bit and just chillax, as they say, just do our bit and just be done with it. Even the Bhagavad Gita, right? It says, karmanyeva dikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhuma ma sangostavi karmani. So, which essentially means that, don't get attached to the fruit of your action. So if you link all of these together, I don't know what is the purpose of my life, but I can find my purpose and just stick to it and just do good, do something. Don't live recklessly. At least that much we can contribute to the nature, right? And just relax and go on, move on. So that's at least my philosophy.
I was vigorously nodding my head, physically at least, mentally too, because you've said everything. And that's my philosophy. I'm not saying this because you just said this, but every single word from start to finish in answer to this is the philosophy that I live with. And I also use the word chillax because I have a 11-year-old boy who's taught me that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. Okay. With that, what we're going to do, Sharad, is move into a segment which is called the one word, one line answer. I am going to throw a set of questions at you and kindly reply in a word or a line. Most of them will, you automatically you'll know it's just a word that you've got to give. It's a fun round. We want to get to know you better, and I want you to enjoy yourself. So, are you ready for this?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Sharad, what's your favorite holiday destination?
Any beachfront.
Okay. What was the most disliked subject in school?
The competition was between biology and geography.
Okay. Which business leader do you look up to or admire the most?
Steve Jobs.
Okay. If you could pick up a new skill in an instant, what would it be?
Playing drums.
Wonderful. Besides German, how many languages can you speak and can you name them?
Yeah, I can speak English. I can speak Hindi. I can speak a little bit of Sanskrit, Urdu, German, yeah, a little bit. Tamil, yeah, slightly. So,
You
yeah,
really have a love for languages, huh?
yeah.
Wonderful. What was your least favorite food as a kid, if you remember? And do you still
Yeah.
hate it?
No, I started loving it now, but bitter gourd, the Karela. And my
Absolutely,
wife
yeah.
gets the credit for it.
Okay, that's wonderful. When was the last time you did something for the first time? And what was it?
Yeah, I did. I did a course in Art of Living about a year back. That was something new.
Okay, wonderful. Choose one of the options that I'm going to give you: running or walking,
Running.
work from office or work from home,
I'm kind of neutral. Yeah,
okay, school friends, college friends, or work friends.
school friends and college friends actually, both.
One, if you were to choose one.
Uh, yeah, college friends. Yeah.
Okay. Were your parents strict or lenient?
Strict in the beginning, maybe lenient towards my teenage and later maybe.
Okay. Comfortable silences or incredible conversations?
Absolutely enjoy my own company, comfortable silences.
Wow, good. Would you prefer to have more time or more money?
More time.
Okay. Choose one of these eras: 1990s or 2020s.
2020s is good actually.
Nice. Uh, would you like to be lost on a mountain or lost on an island?
Mountain.
Okay. Would you rather travel back in time to meet your ancestors, or would you rather go to the future to meet your descendants?
I'm good in the present moment.
I should include that as an option, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, if you could be a kitchen appliance, what one would you be, and why?
Yeah, I would probably be an oven because I can bake cakes.
Okay. If your name were a logo, what would its tagline be?
Gratitude.
Wonderful. Wonderful. If you could live in anyone's head for 15 minutes, who would you choose?
Your your
Who?
head.
My head. Okay. Okay. Is that a signal for me to wind up this session?
No,
I
no.
hope I'm not making you feel uncomfortable.
No, not at all, not at all.
Okay.
Really,
Okay.
really, I really
Okay.
want to be in that, I would say job of, getting to meet and interview a lot of people. So I really like that job.
Isn't it great fun? I get to ask all the questions and I get to hear so many different answers. Isn't it fun, Sharad?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's the enviable part.
Right, right. So moving on, I'm going to have more fun. What is your most prized possession?
Um, Possession, maybe my phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which three people, living or dead, and now, okay, take the hot seat. You're in my position right now, not just my head, you're in my position. So if you were to conduct a cutting chai conversation, which three people, living or dead, would you like to have a cutting chai conversation with?
Yeah. Maybe one with Charles Darwin.
Okay.
One with Yeah, one with Arjuna
Ah,
and one with Steve Jobs.
great. A final question before I let you go. If you could take a minute to explain to our audience uh, while we are on that side of 50, what is the best way to stay young and relevant, if I may add?
Curiosity. I think curiosity is the one which helps you stay young, because if you are curious, you will try and understand more and more, learn more and more, not take anything for granted. So that is on the left brain side. On the right brain side, you need to be, you need to have that gratitude and that lightness in your heart, and understand that everything is impermanent, and then just don't be so serious. I mean, you can be sincere, of course, but there's a difference between being serious and being sincere. So I think be sincere, be lighthearted, have gratitude, have a lot of curiosity. That's how at least I would like to believe.
I found the lightness, I found the curiosity, I found the humility, and I found gratitude in this 25 minutes from you. Friends, that was Sharad Goklani, Chief Technology Officer at AU Small Finance Bank. It was indeed a pleasure, Sharad, to listen to you. We wish you, your family, and AU Small Finance Bank the very best going forward. God bless.
Thank you, Evan. Thank you very much. Much pleasure.